Happy New Year, guys! Welcome back to the channel. Today we have an amazing video to check out. Just stick around. Do not forget to hit on the subscribe if you are yet to do so, and let's dive right into this video.
This month marks my 16th year living in the United States. In just that span of time, I've seen considerable change, from major political upheaval to the nationwide acceptance of social media and briefly fidget spinners. In fact, often most evident on social media is the fact that America, the land of opportunity, is also the land of extremes. Extreme beliefs, extreme accomplishments, extreme weather, extreme wealth, extreme poverty, extreme wildlife, extreme fame, extreme terrain, extremists, and extreme mists. In other words, during my long-held fascination with the United States, it has always struck me as a country with an eye.
No wonder most people like to run to America. I think America have like one of the most immigrants in their country. Yeah. One of those countries that have the most immigrants in there.
For the dramatic. As you may have guessed from that brief list just now, this is not always a criticism. In fact, as an 8-year-old boy who dreamed of becoming a Goonie, I believed that drama suited America just fine. I also thought America might suit me just fine, especially given my A-level in theatre studies. But after moving to the United States, I quickly learned that not all of America's dramatic qualities lie in the coastal town of Astoria. It was quite literally in the air. During that first December, my nostril hairs froze in the wake of winter. It was unlike any cold I'd ever experienced soon after I invested in a face mask and a nasal trimmer. I imagined it couldn't get any colder, and then, in January 2019, it did. A polar vortex reducing the Chicago winter chill to minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's that. Anyway, time to go and check on that water, I think. There we go. What's that in Celsius, Lawrence? Easy. Minus 45 degrees, or 18 degrees colder than the coldest temperature ever recorded in Britain. On top of that, last year I experienced a thunderstorm, a giant hailstorm, and a tornado.
The most cold, where is that place they usually make the stockfish from? Norway. Iceland. Then how cold will those places be?
It's not cold.
Extremely cold.
All in the space of about 4 minutes. Probably going to find out. These things don't happen.
Tornado,
Volcano. Sorry, not volcano.
Hurricane,
Hurricane.
those like I've never experienced things like that or such over here in my country. Yeah.
I was thinking it's the Asian country that have the most natural disasters.
Earthquake. This one, Japan, I guess.
Yeah, Japan.
I think volcano. I think this Filipino. Yeah.
Tanzania.
Iceland too.
And in the UK. So the question is, can the characteristics of a nation be influenced by something as simple as the weather? In some ways, I would say yes. But America's propensity for being a little extra surely isn't the result of one thing, but a perfect storm of many things. When a country has almost 350 million people, it's inevitable that disagreements will arise. And I can't help but feel that this is particularly true in a country where the two most popular news networks are known for their bias to opposing ideologies. Thankfully for me, no such memo is lost in the pond thanks to today's sponsor, Ground News. Ground News is a news aggregator that compares pressing topics from across the political spectrum, and for every story gives you a visual breakdown of the political leaning, reliability, and ownership of the reporting outlets. So when the US Supreme Court allows a huge class action lawsuit to proceed against Meta, you can easily see how this is reported by news outlets on the left, right, and in the center. On this occasion, it seems that headline writers from across the spectrum broadly agree that this is a thing that happened, with most headlines remaining politically neutral on the matter. That said, that won't stop me using Ground News' lovely feature called Blind Spot, highlighting news stories that receive disproportionate coverage on one side of the spectrum. Better yet, Ground News lets me alternate seamlessly between British and American news, which makes it easier for me to divorce myself from, the agendas of UK tabloids. So, as the latest season of America premieres soon, I highly recommend using Ground News' US politics page to cut through political bias and arrive at your own conclusions. Head to ground.news/lost, or scan my QR code to save 50% on the same limited access Vantage plan that I use. And don't miss their biggest sale of the year. The link is in my description below. But back to the polarization of America. If there's one thing that Americans can agree on, it's that Americans can no longer agree on anything. We are at odds with one another over some very weird things. Just the other day, I heard somebody online arguing against the existence of Finland. And this is not just a slam against US education. Goodness knows it gets enough of that. It's an observation that in a country in which you are free to believe whatever you want, people very often will. And while certain American networks thrive on telling viewers what to think, social media seems to reinforce what users already already believe. Indeed, I moved here at the dawn of the social media age. As platforms became increasingly powered by algorithms, we Americans, like most of the world, came to devour what merely confirmed our bias. And in a country whose First Amendment lends itself strongly to difference of opinion, social media achieves something the printing press never could, keeping the nation polarized on a minute-by-minute basis. I can't help but feel that this is powered in part by the absolute monetization of everything everywhere all the time. When people, including myself, are rewarded for high engagement, boundaries will be pushed to the limit in order to eke out those extra dollars. So why not shovel out a good old Finland isn't real post if it results in 20,000 comments? Heck, you could even argue that this very video, when compared to other Lost in the Pond content, is on the extreme side. So perhaps money is the deciding factor in all of this. After all, the United States has greater wealth inequality than virtually all of the developed world. Indeed, 8 of the world's top 10 richest people are based in the US, and no, I'm not yet one of them. On the flip side, America
has the highest rate of money inequality. What does that mean? Like money is not evenly distributed to everybody, or some people have. Okay, yeah, America practices the men in higher than.
Are you serious?
Today?
Guys, please help us.
Yeah,
out.
there's a
I don't think so.
B-Bor. Comedy,
comedy.
Because when saying money inequality, I'm just thinking of it.
It's real. I was thinking it's just based on the kind of job you take. The higher the risk, the higher the pay. I was thinking that was the ground.
Down there. Probably we are just...
America's wealth has led to, transformative technological advancement, cinematic entertainment, or, crucially, success at the Olympics. Furthermore, few people realize that the United States is routinely ranked among the most charitable nations on Earth. And so yes, since I moved here, American extremity has done anything but return to the wilderness. Much like the actual wilderness. You know what you don't have to worry about in England? Animals that will eat you for breakfast. From memory, the only close call I had was that one time a cow ushered me out of Aunt Deborah's barn. America, on the other hand, has so many deadly species that the suspense films write themselves. Afraid of alligator swamps? Fine. Go live with the rattlesnakes instead. Not your cup of tea? Then why not run off into the woods while smeared in honey? Or reach under the toilet seat in your parents' basement? And I know what you're thinking. Ooh, Lawrence, these animals are rarely fatal to humans. To which I say, you're right. In fact, perhaps the most extreme thing about such creatures is our irrational fear of them. Despite what you may have learned from the documentary Jaws, only 1 American on average dies from a shark attack each year. Fewer die still from black widow bites. The last such recorded fatality in America occurred the same year Thriller came out. So that leads me to another question. Have we got it wrong? Is America not quite as extreme as it seems? Well, as somebody who's actively abstained from social media in recent months, I am reminded that there might be some validity to this argument. Amid all of the Florida man stories, it's easy to forget that America is filled with people who are just getting on. Once you remove the veil of anonymity afforded by the internet, offline Americans are sometimes even kind, perhaps reluctant to bring up politics, money, or Finland. Because at the end of the day, we're all passengers on the same planet, hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour. And if you think about it, what could be more extreme than that? So, America's genuine problems notwithstanding, I do think the US sometimes feels more extreme than it is because that makes for fantastic ratings. Then again, those same passengers are also descended from other passengers, ones who came to North America at various points in history. The continent's extremely remote location, flanked either side by 2 vast oceans, is significant. It meant that early settlers to the New World faced hardship before they even got here. Heck, the Mayflower took a grueling 66 days to reach North America, often facing rough seas that could have left it lost in the pond. That was an intentional brand reference for those at the back. Indeed, once they arrived, about half died before the end of winter, unprepared for the very cold that would stiffen my nostril hairs 400 years later. Nonetheless, those that survived persisted, just as others who came here persisted. For me, this same grit is what put men on the moon, men who would bring back grit from the moon. It's a funny old world. And whether you believe the moon landing was real or you believe it was fake by Stanley Kubrick in a film studio, you have to admit that either sounds completely insane, like, we went to the moon, what? All I'm saying is, I think extremeness, whether good, bad, or indifferent, might be woven into the fabric of American society, and it began 400 years ago. Actually, more like millions. Because this is a country of enormous, one might even say extreme, natural wonder. Here, you'll find some of the world's largest rivers, lakes, and rock facades that were somehow formed with the heads of US presidents. Nature truly is amazing. So put down your phones and your computers and go out and see America. But not before sharing this video and feeding the algorithm. Until the next video, goodbye.
That was cool.
I mean, every country have their extreme, in my own opinion. Even though when you come to each country, there are things that will really wow you when you hear about them. He didn't want to dive into the health sector.
Just showed
We've
it.
heard a lot, and their laws, some of the laws, and all of that, right? But I mean, every country have their extreme. Trust me.
I think America, to me, is balanced because everybody in a place can have the same mindset for it to prosper.
Yeah.
We need imbalance for a place to actually survive.
Yeah.
So I think every other thing in America is just the imbalance to make it survive as a nation. Obviously, they're surviving and they're leading in all aspects in the world. So it just makes sense to me. And I think the terrain is also perfect. Like each state with different
Weather
climate
condition,
and weather
yeah.
condition. That's so fascinating to me. Like Chicago is so cool. Some other states is
It's
so hot.
warm.
Like different animal. Like you go to Florida, you see a lot
Just
of
like different words.
alligator.
Yeah.
Like different words all together in one country.
They
Like,
actually
so
have
fascinating.
everything that makes them that they need to be stable.
Like to be unique
Yeah.
and to survive by their own self. Like
Yes,
that's
they do.
amazing.
All right, thank you guys for sitting up to this time. We really want to hear your opinion about this video. It's quite edgy, kind of, and I am very sure everybody have different perspective on what he has spoken about, each thing that he spoke about. I want to see yours on the comment section. And until next time.
Bye.